parties, even centrist right parties, are kind of falling away. In this context, how does the center left, how do progressives meet the moment and actually capture a strong majority?
Well, I think for us, the context, certainly for the last election, was an electorate, a public, who, since the 2008 crash, hadn't seen their living wages, their living standards rise for many, many years, totally flat. Their public services had got worse and worse to the point of decimation. And there'd been a massive drop-off in trust in politics for a whole bunch of reasons. So this led to quite a strong sense of disenchantment. And if you think about the 2008 crash to last year, that's 16 years. So anyone who was maybe in their 20s, late 20s, would have gone through to their early 40s not feeling they were materially progressing in the way that they would have expected in their lives, not seeing their public services fit for purpose, and losing faith in politics as an answer to that. That's why the change slogan that we had at the election was so powerful, because people said, I want that to change, I want to break this cycle. And therefore, what we're trying to do is to come in, and what I was alluding to earlier, this national renewal, is not just about fixing the problems, somehow taking them back to where we were, pre-08, pre-2010, whatever it may be, but building something better and different as you renew. So to take an example, our economy hasn't grown materially since 2008. It's been flat-lining. We need to get economic growth. That is the number one mission of the government. But it's got to be growth that is felt in every part of the country. It can't be a line on a graph, and it can't be growth in some parts of the country. It's got to be in every single part, which is why we've worked really hard on things like inward investment, record inward investment in the first year of the Labour government, and then a big top-up last week with the US state visit. But that has to be identified as to the places it's going into Hartlepool, into the various different, the Clyde. It's got to be place-based, and people need to see it's in my region, economic growth everywhere. Because I think for progressives, for social democrats, we for too long lost our way. We thought that redistribution was the only thing that mattered for fairness. You create wealth and then you redistribute, and that's a one-word answer for too many of our communities. It isn't. They want the pride to stand on their own 2 feet. They want the wealth to be in their community. The stuff we did yesterday in Pride in Place is really important, because what we said there was, here's a pot of money for your place, because frankly, you've been overlooked for too long, and you will decide what that money is spent on. So you're not coming cap in hand to Whitehall for somebody in Whitehall to tell you. It's your decision. Same with our public services. We've got to rebuild our National Health Service, would be the touchstone for us. But we can't simply take it back to where it was. It's got to be an NHS fit for the future. It's got to change as we go forward. So there's this question of how you deliver and what renewal means in substance. And then the other part, which is really important, is that certainly in the UK now we're at a crossroads. We have got a right-wing proposition that we've not had in this country before. We've gone on for decades with elections which are basically either a Labour government or a Conservative government, pitched usually pretty much on the centrepiece of politics, the centre ground of politics. So, but now we face a very different proposition with Reform and Nigel Farage, and so the battle of our times is between patriotic national renewal in the way I've described under a Labour government, which is capable of expressing who and what we are as a country accurately and in a way where people feel they're valued and they belong, and that we can actually move forward together, versus something which is turning into a toxic divide. That march that we had here 2 weeks ago in London, in Whitehall, that sent shivers through the spines of many of our communities well away from London, not just those in the immediate vicinity. So there's a battle for the soul of this country now as to what sort of country do we want to be, because that toxic divide, that decline with Reform, it's built on a sense of grievance politics, identifying something real for sure, but relying on the problem existing in order for their politics to persist. And it's a very different choice. The choice before the electorate here at the next election is not going to be the traditional Labour versus Conservative. It's why I've said the Conservative Party is dead. Centre-right parties in many European countries have withered on the vine, and the same is happening in this country. It's a different proposition, and therefore it becomes a binary argument as to the future of our country, and it actually becomes bigger than Labour. It's about all of those that genuinely believe in the patriotism that I think is the heart of what we are as a country. So for us, it's about battling with repairing the damage that was done under the last government, which was huge, but rebuilding in a way which embraces and takes on the battle for the soul of the country, because we're going to face a very different election next time to any of the elections we fought in the United Kingdom for a very, very long time. And we need to be, that's why I think, certainly why I want this to be out as an open fight now between Labour and Reform. And I'll be majoring on this on my conference speech next week.
Thank you so much for that. Just to build on that, on those comments, Prime Minister Albanese, you